What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe with No Days Off DFS, here to bring you a quick overview of tonight's slate. This is coming out pretty late in the day. Really kind of was a toss up this morning on if I was going to record or not. So I kind of decided to postpone it just because there was a lot of news that I was waiting on. And I hate whenever I have to go through and rush and like try to cover everything all at once. But most of the news has kind of broke that was needed for the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and just touch on this real quick and give you guys pretty much a slate overview of how I plan on attacking and building on today's slate. So with it being said, if you guys are new here, make sure you guys drop a like on the video if you guys do enjoy the content, and subscribe so you guys don't miss any of the stuff that I do put out. Definitely means a lot. Thank you guys for just the support, period, and hopefully you guys are making some money by watching these videos. So starting out, of course, injury news, some things and key things that we do have to pay attention to. Of course, definitely Minnesota, we need to know if Ant's going to be in or out. That's going to be really big, because if he's out, then of course we're going to want to play some of these other Minnesota players. Right now, the spread is sitting at 12. It's Detroit. Of course, they could sit Ant, but I know, such a high spread, of course, with Towns, Rudy, and Mike Conley. You would expect them to be able to blow out Detroit, as is, but Detroit is at home. Maybe they could actually keep it close, but I definitely do want to know if Ant's going to be in or out, because then we can see other players that can step up, and I definitely wouldn't mind getting a Towns or Rudy Gobert in this matchup if Ant is going to be out right there. For Orlando taking on Atlanta, biggest thing, France still out. Over here on Atlanta side, no news that we really have to pay attention to. All these guys, we already know what's up with them. Spurs, Zach Collins still out. Boston, they got 3 guys that are game time decisions. The spread is a 16-point spread, so this kind of makes me believe that there's somebody, like, at least maybe one of them might sit out, but 2 of them will play. Is the way that that I see this playing out. Is what it is, just from the spread, because I do think that if KP was to sit White and Holiday, the Spurs somewhat can keep games competitive and close, especially whenever you get what Wemby's putting up. Shochan, he's not a slouch himself. Trey Jones actually being in the starting lineup has helped him a lot. So with that spread, I do think 2 out of the 3 will sit. Maybe we don't have Derek White, or maybe just Drew Holiday, KP. But either way, we do have to pay attention to that Boston news. That is pretty big, and some implications right there. Milwaukee, no news. Cleveland, same old, same old. Karis LeVert, game time decision. Fully expect for him to play once again. Houston, nothing we got to worry about. Tari Easton still out. That's nothing new. For the Knickerbockers, we do need to know if Brunson's going to be in or out. If he's out, then of course it's going to bump up guys like Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, OG, Julius Randle. Everybody gets a bump with Brunson being out. For Miami, K Love, he's out. Jaime Jaquez is out as well. Jimmy Butler came back in that last game. So they pretty much got their full, their main guys are kind of back. Jaime, he was really filling that role as a really good guy, especially in the starting lineup. I imagine when he comes back, he'll probably slide in at that power forward spot, take Jovic out. But biggest thing really just of course that Jaime's being out. So secure minutes for Jovic, for Highsmith off the bench, things like that. Over here for Toronto, if you guys are living under a rock, they just made a pretty big trade. Pascal Siakam has officially been traded. He is now on the Indiana Pacers, and pretty much this is going to be a stacked Toronto day, just simply because, hey, they are riddled with injuries, and they don't have a couple of players. So and all that usage, of course, that Siakam had, the rebounding, the scoring, like you're gonna have to make up for about 18 to 20 points a game right there as well. So some big implications right here for them with that happening right there. So definitely something that we want to pay attention to. Charlotte Hornets taking on the Pelicans. Brandon Miller, game time decision. Other than that, nothing really that we have to pay too much attention to over here. LaMelo Ball, his minutes are slowly ticking up as he continues to play, get himself back in game shape. Not a bad matchup going up against the Pelicans, even though they are a pretty good defensive team, but we have seen some opposing point guards and small shooting guards actually have pretty decent games. This is a really great matchup for the Pelicans, who are playing pretty good, lights out. Zion, Valanciunas, both should be able to have their way in this matchup. BI, this could be a get back on track type game. BI really has kind of failed to go over 20 points in quite a couple of games, and just has looked, just looked like he's there. For Dallas, we do need to know if Luka's going to be in or out. I'll say right now, I see Luka on a lot of prop sites. His props and stuff are up. That's leaning me towards that Luka's going to probably play in this game. That's what that tells me right there, with me seeing him actually on the sites and things like that. Let me see real quick. Do we actually have that last game? Nope. Okay, so I don't have to worry about the Brooklyn Nets and Portland game. And then of course, if you guys didn't see the news, this just dropped not too long ago, so you guys could tell exactly what time I'm recording this video. But for the Golden State Warriors, they did just lose one of their assistant coaches to a heart attack. He had a heart attack last night while he was out to dinner with some of the team. So my condolences to the Golden State Warriors family, and also to the coach himself. That's really just tough, a tough loss really up here whenever you do lose somebody. So again, my condolences to the whole Golden State family, and everyone out there. That is a pretty hard thing to deal with, and definitely understand why this game would be postponed, especially if you're having someone out for dinner and things like that. So but I don't want to butcher his name, so that's why I'm not gonna even try to say it or anything like that. But if you guys don't know about it, just go look it up. It's on X right now and in the news and everything. So with that being said, let's go on over to DraftKings, the site that I play the most on, the site that haven't had the big takedown yet. Definitely gonna be going for it, trying to go ahead and get it. Of course, 100K to first. We gotta play this. Go ahead, get our lottery ticket in. If you win 100K, and I've asked this before, but as more people continue to view these videos and things like that, I do honestly want to know, what would you spend your 100K on? Because if you realize and think about it, you're really only going to get about, I think, maybe 60, about 55 to 60,000 will be actually what you will truly get once you factor in your taxes, depending on what state you live in, depending on what state. But if I'm just factoring off of my state, I would be looking at about 55 to 60,000 would be what I would get in an instance if I was to actually do that. So outside of that, though, looking at it, starting with Minnesota taking on Detroit. So over here on Minnesota and Detroit, like I said, we do need to know if Ant's going to be in or out. If Ant's going to be out, then on the Minnesota side, of course, I love Karl-Anthony Towns. This is a great spot for him. Honestly, Detroit has no one that's going to be able to match up with him. I'm not scared of Isaiah Stewart or anything over there that they have. Rudy Gobert, same thing. Centers going up against Jalen Duren have done pretty well in that regard. With Ant being out, Mike Conley, not someone that I like to really click on too much, but I definitely could see some realm where you could play him in GPPs, but definitely not a must, especially with the value that we have in the Toronto side, where we have Dennis Gordier and Quickly. Those are going to be definitely plays that I'm going to want to get into my line. That'll definitely take those spots into those guard positions. But definitely can see Mike Conley off the bench. If Ant is going to be out, then Kyle Anderson and Naz Reid will be two players that'll definitely get a bump and boost. And then even if a blowout, definitely can see that. On Detroit side, of course, with okay, definitely still like Duren, Ivy. This is going to be a tough matchup for them because they are going up against one of the better defensive teams in the league. But if you do feel like somehow they can keep this game close, I definitely don't mind Duren, don't mind Ivy. Other than that, they're all going to be GPP plays, and nothing is a must. Since they made that trade with Washington, I want to say Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala are going to be available today to actually play. So keep that in mind while you're filling in your lines right there. For San Antonio Spurs, only appealing player over here is going to be Wembanyama for me. I'm not too interested in Vassell, Keldon, Trey Jones, none of those guys, unless we do get word that some of those Boston players are going to be out. If some of those Boston players are going to be out, then maybe well, not even maybe, but the defense will drop just a little bit. So I could see myself playing maybe a Shochan or going to a Tyus Jones or a Vassell. But outside of that, really, it's just going to be Wemby, especially if he doesn't have to deal with KP out there. I do just like the upside and everything that he can actually bring. And like I've said time and time again, even though the kid is only playing a limited minutes, a limited role when he's out there, he's not necessarily hitting that 30-minute mark again, but very good to see that he played 27 minutes going up against the Atlanta Hawks in a game that they should have lost because they were getting their asses kicked, and it was truly a blowout right there. But still do not mind him. Played 24 minutes going up against them last time, dropped 36 fantasy points in that game. So definitely do see it being in the realm of possibilities that something that you can go to. But like I said, if Derek White or any of those other guys are out, definitely don't mind going to a Trey Jones, who we've seen since he's been put into the starting lineup, has played very well. I definitely do like the upside for him at 5'9". That's something you can mess with. Over on the other side for Boston, we do know pretty much San Antonio Spurs, they play very much a shell defense. Not really too much to really take away from over here, but if players are going to be out, then of course whoever's going to be left behind, of course between Tatum, Brown, depending on if it's going to be White, Porzingis, or Holiday, that's it. Tatum, Brown, both players really good. You're going to need someone to go ahead and get you to that 16-point spread that is going to be, and so both of them will be definitely plays that I can see my going to. I would take Tatum over Brown when it comes down to it, just the usage, the rebounding, everything, the playmaking that he actually would presume if any of those guards are to actually miss. Do love the upside. And then of course, if KP was to miss, just the rebounding upside that he could have there in its own right as well would be a pretty big plus. Over here on the Miami, like I said, they're going up against pretty much a weak team now that's lost a lot of players. Biggest thing, of course, with Jimmy Butler coming back, surprised me the fact that they actually went out there, they ran this dude 40 minutes in that game. So I guess really it was just kind of a conditioning thing, getting him back right and whatnot. Really, honestly, surprised that he played that many minutes. That's just crazy. But either way, the matchup is good for kind of the whole starting lineup out there. I'll say I'm not going to be too heavy on Jimmy Butler when it comes down to it. Between him and Tyler Hero, they're both priced right around the same. I would take Tyler Hero just for the upside in regards to the scoring, and if the game was to somehow blow out or something like that, I can see Hero getting more run than Jimmy Butler. But at the end of the day, 4-1 Kyle Lowry going up against his former team. Yes, it's a shell of his former team, but his history going up against Toronto Raptors, it's not too bad. He played 28 minutes going up against them early in the season, so I don't mind that at all. But like I said, 4-1 for a starting point guard guard Kyle Lowry going up against the score their defense, and Iman quickly. Not going to be too scared of that. The only thing, of course, you got to worry about with Kyle Lowry is he's not playing too heavy minutes. He'll play like mid-20s in regards to him, but either one of those guys. And of course, Bam Adebayo, been on a roll, been on a tear. A pretty shell matchup again going up against Toronto Raptors. They don't have a true center that's going to actually be able to deal or contend with him because for the Raptors, they're going to be rolling out. I think he's a rookie, if I'm not mistaken, but they should be rolling out Jonte Porter unless they decide they want to put Thaddeus Young back into the starting lineup into that spot. But right now, sites have Porter slid in as the possible starting point guard here in the spot. So definitely would just pay attention to that and figure out, you can get some value there depending on who's going to actually be the start in that regards. But over here for Toronto, like I said, I'm definitely going to want Iman quickly. Looking at it, Scotty Barnes, he should definitely see a boost in the production, everything for him. Scotty, I'll definitely don't mind going with that. And if I want to take the value in Porter, or maybe I could take Daddy, either one of those guys, or Bouchard, these guys all kind of have a bump in regards to just the production that they should actually bring. And then if Gary Trent Jr. is going to be missing and out on the day-to-day, then that is going to boost Dennis Cordier off the bench. And I want to say, yep, Grady Dick, he's questionable as well. So it's just really a very short-handed Toronto Raptors team. And I don't see how you don't play at least two to three of these guys in your lines tonight. That's really where I see, unless you're going to have to go with on today's slate. And then, of course, Iman quickly and Scotty Barnes are going to be your main two guys that you're going to want to get from over there. Now, going to another game that should actually be pretty good. Orlando taking on the Atlanta Hawks. We've recently just seen this game not so long ago. I want to say like maybe 4 or 5 games ago. Went to OT with the Orlando Magic squeaking out a win, with players still being out, front still being out, things like that. Paolo Banchero, he's pretty much shoulder and low for the team. Went out there, kind of somewhat bounced back, going up against the New York Knicks and Thunder and Miami. All three of these games, not bad. The thing is that I will note that this will be I want to say the 4th game in 5 or 6 nights for them. So they were on the last leg, the last part of their road trip. If you look at their game logs, you'll see a lot of their games that they have played recently have been on the road. I want to say 7. Yes, 7. And this one probably make 8, but 7 out of the last 10 games, when you look at the game logs, have been on the road. So definitely road warriors right now with it, but should be a decent matchup, decent game. I want to say the spread in this game wasn't too bad either when I looked at it. Yeah, a 4-point spread, so it should be pretty close. But Paolo will be one of the main guys I want to go to. Suggs, of course, with all the players and stuff that they have in and out for them, just France and Suggs. This is definitely a bounce back spot for him. We've seen what he did the first time going up against Atlanta. 29 minutes, dropped 30 fantasy points, practically a fantasy point per minute. Definitely, if he can actually hit his threes, which is going to be a big part of it for Suggs, if he can hit his threes, which he should be able to do going up against an Atlanta team that doesn't play any defense, definitely the upside will be there for him in the long run. But Suggs, do love him. Goga, don't mind him at all. Would definitely be considered value whenever you look at it. Played 28 minutes going up against him, 38 fantasy points in that game. And then, of course, got to talk about my boy Mo. Definitely a bounce back candidate for a big game here. 25 minutes, dropped 26 fantasy points against him last time. Of course, no problem in regards to, okay, hey, Mo costs more than Goga. Definitely play Goga at that 5K price tag. Just would make more sense. I do understand that Wendell Carter Jr., he is back, but when you look at it, they are slowly easing him back in. He's not playing heavy minutes or anything like that. It makes me kind of wonder if he's on the trade block, if they're looking to get rid of him. But if they're going to continue to start Goga in front of him and Goga's going to actually log the main minutes at the center position, I would definitely would prefer going with Goga over there. Over on the other side for the Atlanta Hawks, you kind of already know it's the main contributors over here for them. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Jalen Johnson, all these guys over here. Jalen Johnson bounced back in a major way in that last game, going up against San Antonio Spurs as expected to. 50.5 fantasy points, 16 points, almost at triple-double, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. And if you look what he did going up against Atlanta the first time, he played 40 minutes in that game. Of course, it was an OT game. Didn't hit any of his threes, but 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. Dropped 33.75 fantasy points. Again, he's a DFS darling for me. I will continue to go to him, but you definitely do not have to take my opinion for that. But opposing power force have done pretty decent going up against the Orlando Magic. Outside of that for him, it's again, like I said, the main contributors. I could definitely see going with DeJounte Murray, who he's been so-so. I think maybe probably because he's in the trade rumors and things like that. But as always, DeJounte Murray over Trae Young for me, especially with the price savings that I can get right there, will be also what I want to take. Milwaukee taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you want to pay up for a Giannis on the slate, definitely I think he'll come in at lower ownership just simply because of the other spots that we have. Right now, looking at it, I'm looking at 19% ownership for him here. On the other side of that, Donovan Mitchell, smash spot. We do know we take opposing point guards versus Damian Lillard's weak ass defense, and we will continue to do that. This is a pretty good spot for Donovan Mitchell and for running mate Jared Allen. As we've seen, opposing centers have done pretty well, especially ones that can actually rebound and get those putbacks. And in the earlier game already this season, where Allen, he played 40 minutes in that game, and the game did not go to OT or anything like that, but he did drop 59 fantasy points with 30 points and 12 rebounds going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. So if Allen can keep himself out of foul trouble, of course, when you have Giannis coming in there crashing, biggest thing is, of course, Giannis, he was dealing with a shoulder injury, so maybe we don't have to worry about that too much from Giannis. But Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell will be the main two guys I want to take from over here. On this side, I really do like the upside for either one of those guys. And then outside of that, of course, like I said, you can mess with Giannis, you can mess with Chris Middleton if you want to go there. It should be a fast-paced game either way because we do know Cleveland, they do like to run. Houston taking on the New York Knickerbockers, depending on if Brunson's going to be in or out, is going to be the biggest thing that I do want to know. Outside of that, on the Knicks side, if there's no Brunson, then of course you're going to want to go at Randall. We're going to want to go with Hartenstein and definitely could see a world of mess with OG, but not too heavy on OG. And then over there on the Houston side, I do like the upside for Freddie V in this matchup. Definitely, he's given us two bad games back to back. So right now, I'm looking for that 50 plus fantasy point type game coming from him playing in the Garden. We do know players. I don't know what it is about playing in the Garden, but it always seems to be a narrative whenever it comes down to players coming here and playing there. So do like the upside possibility for Freddie V. And looking at it, his game logs going up against the Knicks in the Garden last season. Of course, different team. He dropped 44 fantasy points and 61 fantasy points. So the upside is definitely there for him. We do know, like I said, opposing point guards, they do pretty decent playing inside the Garden. And if Brunson is going to be out, I do like the upside for Freddie V there. And then, of course, you can mess with Shane Goat, but Hartenstein seems to be a better defender than Mitchell Robinson was out there. And just the fact that the Knicks can actually push the pace without him. I'm kind of leaning towards not messing with Shane Goat here, but Hartenstein, don't mind the upside or anything for him here on the matchup and on slate. Charlotte Hornets taking on the Pelicans. I like LaMelo Ball here. Do like the upside. He's coming out and he's shooting. He's back already up to 9-1. Played 30 minutes in the last game. I would expect about 35 minutes here in the spot. Love the fact that he's actually back. That means I will be getting to see him when I go see him play next week. Can't actually wait for that right there for me. But anyway, the upside is pretty good for him at 9-1. Probably not even probably will come in at some low ownership here on today's slate. But I could see a world where you could possibly try to game stack this with the LaMelo Ball running back with Zion, who's playing pretty good. Looks like they're force feeding him and getting him really involved in these last couple of games. Dallas, Denver, Golden State, all these games. Of course, this game was a blowout. Played 30 minutes though, but still dropped 35.75 fantasy points. So like I said, BI has taken a down and Zion has gone up in regards to the production. Now, if you want to go GPP route, definitely I would play BI. BI is going to come in at low ownership. They're going to look at those game laws. They're going to look at what he's not done, what he's not doing. So no one's going to want to mess with BI. And it's going to be Zion that will come in with that probably higher ownership if people actually want to pay up for that at 7.6. It's not a bad price tag, honestly. So I really do like the upside for Zion here. I definitely do feel like you can go there for him. And then outside of that, besides LaMelo, definitely, of course, the savings, just like with DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, you can always come down here to a Cherry Rozier instead. Upside for him is there. Pretty much the spot to attack the New Orleans Pelicans is at the guard position, point middle period. Over here for the Dallas taking on the Lakers, I want to say this should be like a primetime game or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Let me actually check real quick. Is this game? This game is, yeah, it's the ABC game for tonight. It's actually today's only Wednesday. Okay, so we have one game on ESPN and then one game is on ABC tonight. Crazy. All right, so with that being said though, but still, Luka, like I said, I see him up on prop sites. I see him his projections and stuff. So I'm going to go with that. Luka's going to play tonight, and we do know he likes to give it to the LA teams. You can definitely come and get a low owned Luka Doncic for 10.9. That's probably a lower price tag than what we've seen him at in a while. Honestly, yeah, because he's been up in 11K. He's been in the 11K price range. So go ahead, jump on that Luka Doncic, especially if he's going to play. I doubt he will be on a minute limit. Definitely will pay attention to news. All these games are pretty much kind of early, so we should have any type of news that we need going into slate. But Luka, love the upside possibility for him. Don't hate, don't mind going with that. AD, LeBron James is always they're going to play. You can definitely come down, mess with Kyrie Irving, who has been just fucking bonkers. Definitely don't mind going to Kyrie over Luka, just because, you know, like, Kyrie is in his bag. He's in a rhythm, like, point blank period. Do not hate that at all. Definitely can go there if you want to, but either way, Kyrie, Luka, don't hate either one of those guys. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, I would go probably AD over LeBron here in this spot, but either one of those guys, don't hate, don't mind. Only $300 difference. Look at the ownership, and I would decide that. Austin Reeves, I swear, anytime I play him, he leaves a bad taste in my mouth because he can do so much more, but he doesn't. So everyone else on either one of these teams, they're all GPP options, not anything that's a must or anything that I want to mess with or go to for the day. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully, you guys were able to get a little something out of this. I'll have all my content put up on the Patreon an hour before lock. So definitely check that out if you guys are interested in that. The link for that is down in the description below. Hopefully, you guys do cash out. With that being said, it's your boy Zoe. Peace.